Because we knew that this was going to be a season of tall expectations. We knew that this was going to be a season where the Detroit Lions got everybody's best. And you know what? They battled a team that they played in the playoffs last year. And I thought, even though they got a lot to clean up, this team is going to be one that I believe is going to acquit themselves quite well. But I do believe that a lot of people expose themselves.
Well, one thing that I want to bring up before we get to anything, and speaking of people who acquitted themselves well,
yeah.
How about Aidan Hutchinson? The man had 4.5 sacks. But you know what just drives me absolutely insane? And I'm going to try to be level-headed the rest of the show. I'm not saying sky is falling or anything like that. However, this is something that can never be gotten back, and this is something that can never be taken away. Aidan Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks, and the Lions still lost. This should be a day where we're having a Hutch coronation party, where we should be talking about him as the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Albeit, of course, 2 games in, but this should just be, every single show should just be, Aidan Hutchinson is great, Aidan Hutchinson just basically circle jerk, as it should. But, unfortunately, this is going to be a footnote in a game that ended up being lost. And I get it. The stats are still there. The impact is still there. This is still going to go a long way in his all-pro season that he's about to have. But the point is that when you get one of the all-time greatest defensive performances in franchise history from a guy, and furthermore, when you only give up 20 points to the Buccaneers and you pick off Baker Mayfield, you can't lose that game. And that's one of the reasons why I was so upset at the end and why I was rooting so hard for them to punch it in, the Lions to punch it in and score the game-winning touchdown, but it just did not happen. But never forget what that man did that day. 4.5 sacks. Is that good enough for you, Ryan Ermanni, or should he have had 5?
and you know, I heard some people with this narrative that, hey, look at this. He did all of this and the Lions still can't win. I think that that's more of a microcosm of things that we're going to definitely get into and break down. But what I saw to that defense yesterday, I put it on X yesterday. I thought that Aaron Glenn had a day. They held the Bucs to 20 points. And honestly, the offense didn't really do a lot to put the defense in their best possible spot to succeed. What I saw out of Aidan Hutchinson with DJ Reader in that lineup, what I saw out of Ali McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike getting into that backfield and absolutely causing havoc, that's what we've been wanting to see. And I know, trust me, if some of the biggest questions we have from that game is from some of our most dependable personnel, I'm good. I trust these guys. Everything else that we had questions about, guess what, is panning out. Jake Bates, panning out. J-Mo, panning out. The defensive line, panning out. Even the secondary, as much as people want to try and talk about some of the little different things here and there, they gave up 20 points to the Bucs. And they had to do everything in their power to get past Aidan Hutchinson in this defensive line.
I mean, that's the thing. Was the defense perfect? No, but I would take this performance any day of the week. Yeah, they lost Chris Godwin on a long touchdown. That wasn't good. I understand that. Yeah, they allowed Baker Mayfield to run one in, which makes me extra mad because I hate Baker Mayfield.
Tough.
But you would take this any day of the week. Baker Mayfield completed 12 passes. He threw for less than 200 yards. He threw a pick to Brian Branch. The Buccaneers' rushing attack didn't really do anything. They just gained basically 200 yards and some change. The defense, if you want to look at it from the positive side of things, you can look at it as a defense through 2 games facing 2 capable offense, only allowing 20 points per game. That's the positive, and that's something that you can hang your hat on. The negative, though, and we're going to get into more of the negatives later, is that you'd think you should be 2-0 and you're 1-1 instead. Broder, how impressed were you with the way the defense performed yesterday?
I was optimistic, or it makes me optimistic for this team moving forward. Like Kool-Aid opened up with, that was my biggest question mark going in. The offense is the least of my worries, and the fact that they played, that was the worst part of these last 2 games. Goff played horrible. Ben Johnson called a bad game. Dan Campbell made a few mistakes. If the offense is the issue, I'm not worried. The fact that the defense not only looks competent, but has shown signs of being really good. Not 100% of the time, but they've shown signs of being really good. They have real cornerbacks now. They have a real secondary.
Yeah.
And Aidan Hutchinson's starting to get home. DJ Reader played 25 snaps and made a difference. My biggest question mark to this team, I'm excited about how good they can be.
Yeah, and I honestly, as much as, the Lions, they gave up too much to Chris Godwin. I understand that, but Mike Evans was relatively a non-factor. He made a couple of plays, but as I said before, there's nothing I would change about this defensive performance. That is good enough for the Lions to win.
And Flannel, the week before, Baker Mayfield's thrown for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. He completed 12 passes, 12 of 19 for 185 yards. Like, there are things, we got to contain him. He can't be scoring rushing touchdowns like that. But if you told me before the game you're going to limit Baker Mayfield to 12 completions and you were going to double the amount of yards that the Bucs had, I'd say I would have gone with like a 10, 14-point prediction.
Yes, and for the record, guys, and I feel like I'm talking to Tom Mazaway right now. When it comes to Ermanni Networks with Maz, settle down on Baker Mayfield, because I'm not going to lie, he made some plays. I get it. I understand that. But there's going to be, I think, a little bit too much waxing poetic about him today. He wasn't bad. He made some plays. But to me, I think the defense was fine.
He's got moxie.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. It was invented for Baker. KG.
He plays the game the right way, man.
Plays the game the right way. How do you feel about the way the Lions defense performed yesterday?
I thought they did very, very well. Considering what all went on in this game, aside from what I thought was a ticky-tack Terrion Arnold call down the field in the first quarter and a blown coverage by Meek Robertson on the Chris Godwin long touchdown. Overall, this defense played very well. The only real concern I have at this point is just the opposite side of Hutch. I know we didn't have Marcus Davenport. They had Derek Barnes kind of, playing that pseudo edge role, but they need to get more push from that other side. But with Hutch going off like he did yesterday, you got to take advantage of this game, man. I just really felt like this was a wasted effort on the offensive end, wasting a game like that, an almost record day for Aidan Hutchinson. We did see a little bit of DJ Reader. You can see the type of effect he can have on offensive lines when he's taking up 2 blocks. Also, Mekhi Wingo, I felt, did a good job in the middle as well. But if we can get a little more push from that other side and Aidan keeps playing the type of ball that he's playing right now, oh my God, this defense is going to be really good. The secondary, they're going to gel. They're very sticky when it comes to, staying on receivers and things of that nature, which also helps the defensive line in getting home. So overall, this defense is going to be okay. The offense has some things to work out, but be patient with this defense. They are close to being a complete unit on that side of the ball.
And I think that the defense is okay already. You look at some of the stats. You can look at some of the things and say, hey, this is where we would like to see them get better. But when you look at the points per game, this team is doing exactly what they did last year at limiting teams. Other squads, they'll go and they'll put up 30, 35 on other teams, but then they come against the Detroit Lions, and instantly it's 20 points plus or minus 3. And it was kind of a recurring refrain last season as well.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see them at least this early, while they still have things to clean up as a defense, being able to limit the opportunities on offense that the opposing team has. And you have to think about it. They got a lot of opportunities. When we were at the watch party, we continued to sit here and say, you know what? The defense has to have another big drive. The defense has to have another big drive. And they did 2-3 times in a row. So they got probably more opportunities on defense than if the offense would have probably run the ball a little bit more. And I believe that when you factor that in, that this defense is actually one that it's a little bit probably ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and I want to even further that. I think the defense looks considerably better than last season.
Yes.
The defense actually gets stops when they
Yes.
need to. I mean, I know they allowed the go-ahead touchdown after the Lions took a 16-13 lead, but the defense gave the Lions the ball back multiple times with a chance to get a go-ahead and then what you would hope would have been the game-winning touchdown, and the offense just wasn't able to capitalize. Before we go to break, I want to get JB's thoughts. How do you feel about the way the defense performed, including your boy Terrion Arnold?
Hey, I got to give credit to the defense and Aaron Glenn. They did everything they could to keep the Lions in this game. You held the Bucs to 20 points, which is amazing. As KG said, that Terrion Arnold flag early on in the game, I thought it was, kind of pointless for you even to do that. I'm still slightly confused on why there's no James Houston. I mean, I've seen him on the sideline. I just don't know what's happening there with that situation, but I'm fairly confident in this defense right now moving forward. Eventually, everything will start to gel, and they will start to click together a lot more, but I'm just confused with the whole James Houston thing. I don't understand that.
I mean, we shall see.
Yeah.
KG, you mentioned it. You'd prefer more from the opposite side. I know you got some from Marcus Davenport, but Marcus Davenport did what Marcus Davenport does.
Yeah.
Play well and then
Unfortunately.
get hurt.
Yep.
I mean, are you looking to see something from James Houston these upcoming weeks, or is he just a guy who doesn't really have an impact on the team?
Yeah, and credit to JB and even Terry Foster yesterday for bringing up this problem with James Houston. It's something weird there. I don't know exactly what it is. You thought you would see more of him by now, but this is absolutely a make or break year for him. I guess you can call it a contract year in some ways, because he won't be on this team next year if he doesn't go out here and at least show something. They absolutely need, with Marcus Davenport probably being an injured player throughout the year, maybe you can only count on 11 to 12 games from him. You need somebody else to step up from that opposite end, man. And the fact that he's been a no-show so far, I know it's only 2 games, but you got to start asking questions like, where is he? And he was supposed to be a big part of this defense's plans, especially from that edge rusher position. So I'm confused as to what the hell's going on with him.
You're talking about a literal no-show.
Yeah,
because the coaching staff says, James, get off the field.